This episode of Rivals is presented by Zambrero. Feel good mechs. The last episode of Rivals launched us sky high with the aerial wizard from Queensland's Sunshine Coast, Reef Hazelwood. Today we head down to the Gold Coast to link up with the freshly minted Prince of Snapper Rocks, Sheldon Simkus, as he sniffs out late season cyclone orbs behind the rock like a hungry little truffle pig.
My name is Sheldon Simkus, 24 years of age, and I'm from the Gold Coast, Australia.
Snapper's smiling assassin, the prince of behind the rock pits, the heir apparent to the Cooley Kid's throne. Sheldon Simkus has a lot to live up to, but he's got the demeanour and determination to do it. A well-rounded surfer with the full kit bag of finners, carves, punts and pits, he's surely a special to take out this year's Rivals crown.
With the whole Rival rulebook, from what I've read, I'm allowed 60 kilometres from the front door, which is great. It gives me a variety of good waves, which I'm stoked on, but I did grow up at Snapper Rocks, which I think is quite a good wave. So I'm going to try and pick the eyes out of the forecast, and I'm going to try out my 3 hours at Snapper Rocks.
Princess, or prince, you'd say.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's cheeky little shit, but he's good.
That cheeky little bugger is going to be sitting behind the rocks, stealing everyone's waves.
Yeah, the Snapper boys will want to keep the title up there, but hopefully bring it down to Port Macquarie for a little bit of time for a year or so.
Oh, you can't have two Snapper Rocks wins, surely.
Yeah, the Waves won the event before, so they could do it again. I personally don't want it to happen again, so I'm going to try scratch that one off the list and get the Sunny Coast for the win.
Growing up at Snapper, Sheldon came of age in the shadow of some of Australia's all-time greats. From Mick Fanning, Joel Parkinson and Steph Gilmore, all the way back to Rabbit Bartholomew, there's no shortage of world-class talent and world-class waves to inspire him to greatness.
When the waves are good, all the pros would come out, so that was something to look up to. You know, there was, on any given day, Mick, Joel and Dingo at Snapper, Ockie, Steph. There was a lot of talent to look up to, and I think a lot of us Groms really thrived off watching those guys kind of rip a lot of good waves, and you know, to see where they were at the time I was growing up, they were going for titles and winning events, so that was it was quite encouraging, and it was something for us to look up to and kind of drive towards achieving what they've kind of achieved on the tour and in life. Yeah, I first started competing Snapper board riders events on the weekends and that kind of thing, and I think that kind of got everything really flowing for me and a better understanding of like contest and like being in the Rashi and that kind of thing, and started off with the Ockie Grom comp, and back then it was the Rusty Junior event, which in Lennox, and I never really won them. I never was like, I'd make finals and that kind of thing and give it a good nudge. Felt like as the older I got, probably the more I learned and the less mistakes I made, and into the juniors in the QS I probably started doing a little better, and where I started really finding my feet with that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely enjoy competing, and I hope to accomplish a few more competitive feats.
Despite getting lost in the logjam of talent emanating from the Gold Coast as a Grom, once Sheldon filled out, he got on a roll and stayed there. Today he's among the top talent in the country and well poised for a tilt at the World Tour.
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate enough, kind of after school wrapped up, I knew what I wanted to do, and that was be a professional surfer. And Andrew Shield, a photographer, he was kind of in my corner with a few things and helped me out on a few surfing life trips. I was lucky enough to do a few Hot 100 trips. At the time I was the 6th up and coming juniors in Oz, and we went to some pretty unreal spots in the Mentorwise, and they kind of, those trips are quite eye-opening, you know, to go for 10 to 12 days in the Ments and just surf your brains out. Like, I knew nothing more of just going down a Snapper and surfing any given day, and to go over there and surf perfect waves and get filmed and photographed and get put in a magazine, it's super cool. So bringing us all together on those trips and surfing good waves, it's such a good stepping stone like in all our careers.
A lucky break saw Sheldon linked up with one of the most entertaining and enthusiastic surfers Guy has ever given birth to, Sebastian Zietz. The Kauaian core lord, kingpin, cone fiend put the coolie kid through his paces, turning him into the gluttonous tube pig that he is today.
There he is. Oh, yes, not an error. Oh! Cheers, nut.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, nut.
It was actually Lachlan McKinnon, Peanut, who was working for mySURFtv. He got me on a few trips, and at the time he was doing a lot of traveling with Sebastian Zietz, and yeah, I got to kind of experience the tour life and traveling to all those events and stops with him and watch how he kind of goes about his business, which I feel like is quite different to maybe other pro surfers, but that was yeah, eye-opening experience, and yeah, it was really cool to be a part of.
On the mission. Don't mind a drive to get good waves. So yeah, I don't know, ask the Grom about it. I've never been, don't really know what to expect. See what happens.
Man, it was unbelievable how much that guy surfed. Like, he would just, like 4 surfs a day kind of stuff. And like, I'd never experienced that. Like, you know, you just, growing up, you have maybe a surfer a couple of hours a day, and like maybe an Arvo surfer was pumping, and he would like, we'd get up at 6 and be home at 6. Like, leave in the dark, come home in the dark, and we'd just have like, when I was going surfing with him, I'm like, all right, I'm packing a day bag, I'm going all day. Like, this could be, you know, maybe even a lunch and like 4 wetsuits, because we don't know what we're in for. Like, you just wouldn't come home. We'd just check every beach. The way he went about it, like we'd go surfing all day, come home, play card games, and wake up at 6 a.m. the next day, do it all again. So like full grommet style, which was, yeah, it was quite cool. I feel like as a kid, when you're competing, you want to get there and you want to do it, and you just want to make people proud. Like, I feel like, you know, my parents kind of sacrificed a lot and put me in the right spot, and yeah, I'd like to kind of tick it off for myself and them.
Let's face it, nobody wants to get skunked. Don't go before you know. Know before you go. With Surfline, get live surf cams, long-range forecasts, and so much more. Surfline, we'll help you find your next wave.
Growing up on the Gold Coast, Sheldon had some of the best waves in the world on his doorstep and some of the best surfers in the world on his inside. From Rabbit Bartholomew to the Coolie Kids Mick, Joel and Dingo, Steph Gilmore, and so many more, it doesn't get more cutthroat than the snapper lineup. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another, and Sheldon was no exception, assuming his rightful place as the Fresh Prince of Snapper Rocks.
Yeah, growing up on the Gold Coast was quite amazing. With the waves we have here, it's pretty darn good about most of the year. It's so consistent, the waves are incredible. The older I got, the more I thought I wanted to travel and explore other waves, and now that I have, I'm like, God, I'm so lucky to have grown up in the spots I have, and yeah, they are world class. You can see how many champions have grown up in the area, and I'm stoked that I chose to surf in this area because it's really wave rich. Growing up there, I kind of grew up watching the older boys, I guess. Nick Vasicek comes to mind, Damien Harvey, both goofy footers, both quite amazing. Mitch and Joel Parkinson, Mick Dingo, like, I mean, I could rattle off names for days. There's so many good guys that have come from surfing behind the rock. Growing up, I always sat underneath them, and as I got older, I kind of slowly worked my way a little bit deeper. Got told off a few times, a little bit deeper again, and yeah, I mean, I just loved kind of pushing the boundaries of like trying to get a better wave, trying to be deeper, trying to be in a better spot.
Snapper, how could you describe that? Alright, sometimes it's just like an absolute circus, eh? Like every type of surfer or person you could ever imagine from every spot on the planet. You're like, it's like a meeting zone for the whole planet. It's crazy. Oh, snapper. You can have the best surf or the worst surf of your life, really.
As you're on the wave, you can just see people just staring at you, like waiting for you to fall.
The way the whole thing works is like there's a system, like the boys are up the top. They're kind of, we're all having fun, we're regulating our little zone. But you know, it's a free-for-all down the line. Like anything can happen. I've seen a lot of wild things happen. But that's just how it, you know, with Bith being such a high quality wave, it's just, everyone wants to be a part of it. Everyone wants to kind of, they want to nab one, they want to get 10, 20 second barrel. And everyone wants to get that elusive wave that Damien Harvey got from Snapper to Kira Pub.
Praise be to the Lord of the sandpipe. Like Diego Maradona before him, this Misto mechanic, this Wizard of Oz, used the hand of God to create one of the greatest sand deposits known to man, the Superbank.
Without the sandpipe at Fingal, we would not get a bank at Snapper. Like it just wouldn't pack in there as close because the rock walls, man-made rock walls, stop natural sand flow. Now that the boys up there are kind of working their magic, pumping sand out D-bar and froggies, we're getting really good waves. And I mean, I've been lucky enough to go up from surfing Snapper from 08, 09, 10, so up until now, like, you know, a fair chunk of time. And like, I don't know if I would be the surfer I am without Snapper or the sandpipe, you know, like if I grew up on a measly beach break, I probably wouldn't froth surfing as hard as I do now. So having, Snapper on the doorstep, the sandpipe, you know, I feel like a lot of people just rock up and go, how good Snapper, but they don't know the whole mechanics around like why it's good and how it gets good and that kind of thing, you know.
What are going on here, Shelley?
Got the Tweed sand bypass over at Fingal and gonna let the boys give us a rundown on what happens around here and get a bit of understanding of why it's here and how it works and you get the gist of it all. Kim? Yeah. Thanks for meeting up with us. This is really cool. Yeah, that's it.
You got Adrian?
Hey, how you going?
See you here, project.
Yeah, good, how are you?
Great,
nice to meet you.
Actually, one of the conditions of this is that you've got to give us a few waves behind the rock.
Yeah, I reckon I could try my best to dial that up.
So that's the Snapper Rocks East, yeah, left here. So
yeah, that's my favourite one.
That's the one. So the whole idea of it is to replicate what nature would have done. So if we got hit by successive East Coast lows or cyclones and Snapper and Kira and Rainbow and Coolangatta all got completely destroyed, then these are here at our disposal to get some sand on the upper beach so that people can use the beach again, at least.
So the sand bypass for everyone, beachgoers, swimmers, surfers.
And the objectives of the project are to keep the entrance clear and to keep the natural rate of sand flowing across the beaches. Yeah,
so we'd have to get one of these made.
You could get one for home on your wall.
I'd have dinner on this. So how long is the process from like the water shooting down to the sand coming here, getting filtered, then going to Snapper East?
Oh, it's probably about 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. This is essentially what happens. It shoots water in and it takes water and sand back up with it. And what it does is create a huge big hole around each of these jet pumps down to the level at which the bottom of the jet pump is sitting. So you end up with a big depression under each one of these, and because they're spaced out at 30 metres or so, the idea is that when you add all these one after another, they act like a sand trap, and they just collect the sand that's flowing along, and it fills a hole. So you dig a hole and it fills back in.
Yeah, cool. Well, I feel like I appreciate the bloody sand we get at Snapper a lot more now after finding out all this information, which is really cool.
We dedicate our careers to it, but you do too.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for what you guys are doing over here. It's very impressed. I'm always happy when there's a bit of sand around a Snapper, so I know where to come to turn it on again.
You need a lever.
Yeah, my own little lever.
After the break, we learn a bit about the fine art of scoring pumping waves from one of the masters, Sheldon.
Being a surfer, you definitely got to be onto
weather charts and what's going on outside, and I mean, basically everything we do depends around the weather, so if you're not focusing on that, you'll be missing a bunch of good day waves, which is no fun.
Yesterday was 4 to 6 foot, and it was probably right. Today, 15 to 20 foot. Probably not quite that big. Maybe the Savo. But tomorrow, today's Saturday, Sunday, 20 to 25 foot with the occasional 35 footer. I got into like forecasting and learning about the ocean and learning about surf breaks and how they work. And I've always enjoyed chasing good waves, and whether it may be right here at Snapper or somewhere up or down the coast, like it takes my fancy. It makes me get up early, it makes me get out of bed. I don't know what I'd be doing in my mornings if I didn't surf and chase waves.
I always seen getting barreled and stuff over social media and stuff like that, and I'm just like out here surfing 2 foot, like sloth or something like that. So yeah, no doubt he'll be scoring.
He is always on the money. Like even days that we've been on separate skis or whatever, like, and we haven't really spoken, or we have, and we'll still both rock up in the same spot, and it's just like what's up? Like he's onto it.
The swell? Yeah, I heard it's like 4 foot along kind of the beaches down here, so that means it's kind of solid. Well, I guess the wind is meant to go more, it's got to go north, so that's going to be offshore for at least like an hour or two.
Yeah, we'll just go strike it for a bit.
Yeah.
There'll be a couple waves.
Yeah. Surf with Solly a fair bit around the coast. We like chasing kind of the similar waves, so we both love a bit of a mission and just a bit of banter with the upcoming rivals. Geeing each other up a little bit, but we'll go for a little surf today, kind of feel each other out, have a little warm up and take it from there, eh? So we'll have to see who pulls off a better day, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm always looking at his Instagram and seeing him on good waves, and not always at Snapper, somewhere else. And so he's good at the forecasting. I feel like he's obviously growing up with Mick and Josh Kerr and stuff, and so he's mates with all those guys, and they're really good at it too. So he'd be able to kind of message them and bounce off them with ideas and stuff too. So he's going to be hard to beat with a forecast for sure. It's tricky. Like there's plenty of times like where you'll go chasing waves somewhere and it's terrible. It's horrible, and you're like, God, why'd I get up out of bed? But it's that thrill of that next time you get incredible waves that you're like, God, that was so rewarding, and it was worth every minute. So like all the years that I've kind of like, I'm not perfect. Like no one's perfect reading anything. Like even the top dogs get weather and swells and whatever's happening around the world wrong. But you try your best and you hope to be in the spot at the right time. And I never try to tell anyone too much because A, I'm not right. I'm never 100% right with those kind of things. And B, I like to get some things on my own and hopefully not too many people around. So it can be, when it all comes together and you get that really fun day of waves or pumping or whatever you're chasing, like it's quite rewarding, and I think that's why I love doing and love kind of researching what I do, because it's so damn good.
Shelley is pretty on the money with the forecast and understanding the ocean around here. I've done a few trips over to Stratty with him before, and we've had some good waves, and seems like he's quite actively looking at it. But I'm sure he'll work it out for Snapper. You would hope so. It's his own break. You'd hope he'd work it out.
I think with all the technology I have, it could totally cause a melt. But I hope not, because I think with all the technology we can get our hands on today, you should be able to pick a good day. So yeah, I just hope that I don't overthink it and try and get 11 out of 10 days somewhere. Hopefully I can pick a good day that's good enough where it's blue water, blue skies, some offshore wind and a couple of barrels.
Pretty exciting. The bank looks amazing. We're on orange alert. Nervous to pull the trigger though. I've been talking to the Tweed sand bypassing boys, and they've allocated a good amount of sand down here, and it's just what we needed for it's only 3 hours of surfing, so if it can hold together overnight, we'll come back and see what we got.
Category 2 Tropical Cyclone Philly tracks southeast across the Coral Sea, clipping the northwestern tip of New Caledonia on its way into the northern Tasman, where it subsequently weakened below tropical cyclone thresholds on Friday the 8th of April. The extended duration of those winds generated maximum seas in excess of 20 feet offshore on Friday, in turn producing a large mid-period east-southeast swell that's forecast to peak in the double overhead range across the coast this weekend.
What do you reckon the Tweed Sandbar passing boys are going to think after they see this? They're like, who is that guy? Why does he always talk about us? Should we go play golf with Josh Kerr, get some more info?
Hey, mate.
Hey, mate. Are you down there?
We're on the tee.
No, you're not.
The heat's about to start.
Can you give me 10?
Yeah.
Righto, what are we playing, mate? Sheldon? $10 a hole, $5 a hole.
Sounds pretty good.
Damn it. That's a good shot.
Just like that, you win the first hole, you just give it right back. This golf, it's really up and down.
Looking for Sheldon's balls as usual.
Why is it so hard?
I do pretty well at being most of the good swells, and somehow Sheldon always end up at the same place as me, so yeah, I feel like if he pulls the trigger, he'll nail it.
I'll let you have it all.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, with the perfect looking draw.
Someone's close.
Well, if he surfs anything like that shot, do it right, I reckon.
How can I stuff it up for me, eh? It's a big question. Oh, that's so good. Get in the hole. Wow. That's all right. I won't win today, but hopefully rivals. After the break, Shelley licks his finger and sticks it to the wind before calling it on at snapper. Might be better than when Mick, Joel and Dingo surfed it. That wave was ridiculous. You don't get many waves that spit like that at snapper. I've been blocked from actually checking the forecast anymore. Macy's like, you can't actually look anymore. I've been refreshing it every like 30 minutes. I just enjoy it. I'm stoked, look at this. There's a bit of water moving, like it's gonna be tough, but I'll kind of like that. It's gonna be a battle. But with the battle, with the current, there's gonna be less people. All right, no excuses now. Yeah. Oh. You told me I was gonna get nervous. I didn't know how nervous.
The nerves kicking in there for Sheldon Simkus as we welcome you to Season 3 of Rivals, the greatest surf show in the history of surfing television. 3 hours sessions, 8 surfers, 2 months to film the whole lot, and at the end of it, bragging rights to be the greatest Kiwi battler of them all. Vaughan Blakey in the studio with my good pal, Jed Smithy Smith. And how do you see this one playing out as we see Shelley jump off the rocks at snapper?
Jeez, it's good to be here, Vaughan. How about it as we see him already up and riding on a frothy one, parking it for a little bit of fish? Are you kidding me? Straight into it. How about it, Vaughan? Just the muscle memory's loaded up. It's all inside those limbs, and he's got the confidence to just get out there and knife one behind the rock right off the get-go. Wow.
Mate, Sheldon is one of the great hopes from the Snapper Rocks region. He knows the wave better than anyone, and he's chosen today, and particularly this session of perfect grinding swell. I mean, the place has been getting bombarded since the start of the year. But why do you think he picked this day? It's a little bit ugly out there compared to some of the surf we've seen.
It's ugly, but there's some mutant wedges on offer, and I think they're often the best days. You know, it's a little bit less crowded, it's a little bit less user-friendly, but it's right up Sheldon's alley. He's going to be able to get the read on this joint like the locals, only the locals can do out here, and I'm expecting him to absolutely knife a couple of thick, meaty pits.
Sheldon is part of a crew of Aussie battlers who are really, flying the flag for Australia in a way that we haven't seen in recent years. There's a handful of them. We're going to see them all in this series of Rivals. What separates them from years gone by of Aussie QS warriors?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of self-belief born out of shared hardship and adversity. The money's not there that used to be, so they're having to muck in together and, share hire cars and accommodation and, just toil their way around the world like the great Australian sportsmen of yore, Vaughan. And I think it suits the Australian surfing character perfectly as we see Sheldon starting to heat up now.
Check this roll in, just down the chute he goes. Oh, this thing is a monster. It spits all over his back like a cobra snake, and he'll come off the bottom and just that beautiful. Oh, it's a work of art, that frontside carve, isn't it, Smithy? He just comes off the bottom, he times it so beautifully.
Jeez, it's quality snapper rocks, isn't it? A bit junky and warbly, but big and girthy, and real potential for a mutant thermonuclear orb. Sheldon's going to be frothing.
It's a wonderful thing about the Rivals format too. We get to see these guys at their home breaks, but doing the kind of surfing that they like. It's not about showcasing what they've got to fit a certain criteria. They're just going to surf to what feels good from the heart, and that is what the Rivals judges are looking for. They're looking for someone who's going to bring not just the performance, but the heart. They want the heart, Smithy.
As we see Shell on one.
He gets the roll in, he parks it, and he gets some cover. Out he comes. Big section, hammers it off the top. Oh, put your tool belt on. This guy is going to work. Cuts back to the whitewash, and this is a little bit more like it. Now, Shelley knows he's got 8 of the best QE battlers out there competing against him in this series of Rivals, Series 3, and he will have to bring an A game in this 3-hour session if he wants to beat the likes of Chippo Wilcox, Wade Carmichael, and he's doing a wonderful job right now.
Not offering quite the scoring potential down the line, but he's sticking with it anyway. It's a bit of a fat buckathon. Get back out there and stuff one, Chef. Get your pineal gland packed up with a vicious. We see a replay. Nice little roll in. Smoothly draws a line up into the pit. Emerges there and just straight a big huzzah!
Oh, that was beautiful surfing. Full commitment out of the lip. That thing just stood up and said, hit me. And he said, with pleasure. Absolutely cracks it off the top. What do you make of Shelley's heat so far? What do you think of his strategy? What do you think of his demeanour?
Yeah, I think it's a safe strategy at pumping snapper to just stuff your face full of filthy orbs over 3 hours. You can't really go wrong, can you, Vaughan? But I'm expecting more of it. Looks like the wind's coming up a bit stronger out of the south. Not sure if that might make things a little bit more tricky. It's not the picture-perfect, picturesque, coning variety of snapper. It's a bit lumpy and wobbly, but there's still some mental ones out there, and Shelley's going to be stuffing his face, I'm sure.
Oh, no! Oh, he's gone over the falls. Look out! Oh, no! Gee whiz, he could be smeared all over those rocks. And Ray might be out there poking a bit of Shelley with the end of his didgeridoo, just cleaning up the inside section there. That was a huge wipeout. I think if we've got a criticism so far, it hasn't been able to really get right behind it, wrestle that foam ball, and fly out onto the shoulder for a big old laceration. And he'll just go straight to the inside like so many snapper locals do and pick the cherries from the next set. Look at the power. Yes, this is starting to build up beautifully into the tail end of Shelley's heat. Big, thick, heaving mutants grinding along the sand. Shelley has picked another one here, Smithy. It's doubling up beautifully. He sets the rail, gets the speed. This thing's deep. This thing's deep. Oh, that's not a tube. That's a miracle. Out he comes. And he will bank off the bottom, snap it off the top. And this is the wave that might just start to build a winning lead in Series 3 of Rivals.
I am shocked and appalled by this thing. It's just a double up deluxe with a bit of extra hot sauce on the end. It just gets rounder and rounder. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It's Hanukkah out there, Vaughan. Hanukkah, 8 days of Christmas in this thing. Are you kidding me?
Look how thick and filthy this barrel is. It's starting to get so dark in there. He needs a head torch, Smithy, to find his way out of this thing. It is just a grinding mess.
And he's feeling it, Shelley. Wow.
That thing had more chandeliers than Liberace's house, my friend, and he will be stoked. Let's cross down to the beach
and see what he made off that last wave. That's got to be in the excellent range.
I had to come in and just give myself a little break because I couldn't keep paddling. Lucky the skis out there, otherwise I'd be down at bloody Kira.
How much time you got left, mate?
Hour 10, I think. Try and get one more.
Use of the skis is permitted in these wonderful 3-hour heats, Smithy, and the only real rule was that you had to surf within 60 kilometres of your front door. So that's what every single one of our competitors in Season 3 is dealing with. They'll all have 2 months to pick whatever session they want.
Oh! Thermonuclear pin drop into oblivion from Sheldon Simkus. Wow.
Oh, that was brutal, and he really got the whiplash as he hit the water here. Look at this, just Krakatoa, and down comes the guillotine.
You got to pay to play out here, Vaughan. There's backwash, unpredictable nuggets that'll flex ya like a human pretzel.
Shelley back on the ski, and that is none other than world-renowned photographic lensman Andrew Shield out there, so probably locking up a few persos on the runaround as well, as Sheldy picks off another juicy, thick, mean, brown insider, and out he comes.
Oh, my Lord. Just standing tall in that thing, if you don't mind.
It's seamless, mate. Don't worry about the needle and thread. Just glue it all together with absolute perfection. The read this kid has on this wave, no wonder the Snapper Rock Surf Riders Club is waving the flag for Sheldon Simkus. They want to see this guy on tour, and with surfing like that and a nose for the tube that could only be bettered by Parko, who everyone knows has the biggest nose in surfing. That's the kind of surfing that'll take him to the top.
As we see him scratching into another one, I love how he's just getting in deep here behind the tube section, lining it up and just packing it.
Wow! Stand up. That was huge.
As we see him just smoothly navigate the wobbly drop, pull a line, and just step on the gas for some serious murky vish. Whoa.
Oh, that thing was wide, Smithy, wide as he could park his car, his motorbike, his jet ski, and his girlfriend's Jeep in there as well, my friend. But we're going to throw down to Shelley in a moment as his heat wraps up. Has he done enough to put distance and daylight between himself and the other 7 Kiwi battlers?
My body is just done. Like I couldn't do any more. But that was so fun. I think I picked the right day. I was no one out. I couldn't believe it. Like, you just don't get days out here very often where there's no one out. I have a few crew rolling out now, but pretty ecstatic. That was a fair bit of fun.
Tell us about that one, mate. Does it feel the boys calling it a 10, eh?
It was funny because when I got back out there, the wave popped up and I was like, I think I said to myself, I was like, oh my God, this is a really good wave. And I looked around, there's no one there. Usually you got like Mitch Parker or someone like hassling you. And I just was like, turned around, I paddled in, I was like, oh God, this is a really good wave. And I think it was just make it. Wow, that's a wrap, eh? 3 hours. 3 hours at Snapper with no one out. It's unheard of.
There you have it, Sheldon Simkus at Snapper Rocks Rivals Season 3. We are right in the thick of it. And Smithy, what did you make of the young Queenslanders' performance?
Jeez, he couldn't have done any better with that. He's picked an absolutely key window at his local, not too busy, plenty of orbs on offer, and geez, he just stuffed his face like the gluttonous tube pig he is, didn't he, Vaughan?
Oh, he was absolutely magnificent, Smithy, and I think more than the tubes, I really love that first section stand-up. Waka! He's just got that on a string.
Yeah, he's got it all, Sheldon. He's the complete package there. Front side, pack attacks, and big old filthy tubes. Oh, mate, he's done very well there, and he's going to be hard to beat, I reckon.
He will be hard to beat. He picked a magic day at his home break, but there's 7 other surfers who he's got to take down if he wants to be the champion of Rivals Season 3. And mate, let me tell you something. World titles, Challenger Series, Board Riders Club events, they all pale in significance to Rivals.
Usually you just like get the call, like the comp's on down at bloody Belinga or something, and you go down there, but having to pick where you surf and it's kind of all on you, so definitely a little more nerve-wracking, but I'm just stoked we got a good swell, kind of not unseasonal, but definitely not the time we get a cyclone, so yeah, stoked it all kind of came together and conditions lined up. We've had kind of a funky year where it's been like one good day of waves and then rain and wind, so yeah, for it to come together for a little 3-hour window, nothing.
Next week we head to Byron Bay, world famous, with Solly Bailey.
This episode of Rivals is presented by Zambrero. Feel good mechs.